What is up, movie fans, movie freaks? Thank you all so very much for tuning in to our, what is this? The 11th of April broadcast of Weekly Weekender, where we will be bringing you the top 10 biggest Hollywood industry and movie news related topics on this channel, MoviePOP, especially because we're all in lockdown. Ain't no movies to review unless I do some back catalog review, which I would love to do, but I think my time is better served working on my feature-length documentary for Ghost in the Shell, the 2017 box office bomb. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but guys, that's a little side tangent on me. I'm so happy to have all of you here because it is movie time. We're gonna be talking about movie news. I do see G Wolf. What's up, man? Welcome to the chat. G Wolf says, "Ugh, I'm still not sober yet." Well, you know what, man? You better grab yourself a bottle of Jim Crow whiskey and start drinking with me because I'm not sober yet either. Oh, hey, holy crap. We've got Mr. from the United Kingdom himself. Hello, Governor. Mr. Geordie Lyons. He's here in the chat, guys, moderator and movie insider, Mr. Geordie Lyons. Thank you for being here, bro. He says, hey. Rumors of my demise are apparently unfounded. I've been wondering where you've been at, man. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here with the whole fam. Guys, we've got a couple really great topics, surprisingly, because I've been trying to scour the interwebs for good topics that are not related to COVID-19. Because we want to talk about movie news. And I know we're all in lockdown at home. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. If I may just digress a bit here about my personal life, this has impacted my life in the sense that, like, my social life, as far as going out, dining, going to clubs, all that stuff you do outside, obviously has been impacted. But I unlike most people, I've been fortunate enough to have a job in a position that has been unchanged. I'm doing better than I've ever done before in my life, quite frankly, which is in stark contrast to what most of the world is going through. So I do feel for you guys, because trust me, I've been there. I've been in that position, unemployed, not working, stuck at home for days on end, weeks on end. So I know how it feels like, and I do sympathize. That aside, that's all I want to talk about. COVID. My whole point was that we're all here. And I want us to have a little respite, a little escape from COVID. Let's talk about movie news. So without further ado, guys, let's just dive into our first topic. But I do want to remind you, we do have a new kind of format structure to this show, and I want you all to engage with me because I want to engage with you. And this is I'm totally biting off Campia and Robert Meyer Burnett, but I think this does serve a fantastic function for the channel, for the community, for you, and for me to have an interaction with each other on the channel. And we are going to do this in a couple ways, guys. The first of which will be with you sending me an email for your suggested topic of the week, and also your viewer letters. So what does this mean exactly? Well, it means one of two things. For topic of the week, shoot me an email, dj@moviepop.org. Tell me what you think. Send me a news article, or perhaps a related movie industry or movie news topic you think I should cover amongst the 10 stories I pick for this broadcast, and I will either include it among the 10 or as a bonus 11th topic to be discussed on the broadcast. And then secondly, viewer letters. You want to send me some of your sexy little thoughts. Just write me anything that's on your mind. Send it to my email. Of course, try to keep it movie related if possible. But honestly, I'm game for anything really that's on your mind. It's your letter. It's a viewer letter, so it's going to be its own segment. Guys, seriously, I'm quite disappointed in you mother fudgers. Nobody ain't send me shite yet. So I'm still waiting on them, but no worries in all seriousness. I know we all have our own lives, our own things to do. Who wants to email some random blackie on the interwebs talking about movies? I don't know. Got a little popcorn from MoviePOP. So guys, Digital Nomad Sage is in the house. Guys, if you can, engage and give fantastic props to our content producer, Miss Tiffany Wang. Washington, somewhere around there. Depends who's watching, who knows what. But anyway, she's here. She's awesome. Glad to have her on board. So guys, let's just, without further ado, I think I have spoken enough here. We're about 5 minutes into the broadcast. So let's start with the first topic. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's start with, no, we don't have any top comments. That was another segment as well. So let's just start with the first topic of the day. And this one is going to be coming to us from Collider. Alita Battle Angel 2. Christoph Waltz joins the campaign for a sequel. Now, this is funny, guys, because I did speak about the... and let me mention first, I'm going to read these articles. I'm going to ask you for your thoughts after I read them. And then, of course, I'll expound upon my thoughts. So let's go with that format for now. New format. Let's do it. New times. Let's zoom in a bit because this shite is a little too... There we are. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's great. That's nice and big. Okay. So, whether whether Alita Battle Angel worked for you or not, there's no denying that the February 2019 release sparked quite the response. Of course, the property already had significant fan base, thanks to the manga source material. But the movie seemed to take it to another level. The kind of level where a fan group raises over $1,800 to fly a banner over the Academy Awards red carpet to try and persuade Disney to make a sequel. Now, interesting fact, guys, Disney is the parent company owner of what was formerly 20th Century Fox, is now 20th Century Studios. Just in case you were wondering why Disney was mentioned there. Given the ambitious visuals, Alita Battle Angel cost a pretty penny to make, with a reported production budget of $170 million. Big time money, especially coming from a company like Paramount, which is bleeding for cash with all their box office bombs that are high budget box office releases. Anyhow, it wound up making a little over than $404 million worldwide, which is a decent grand total. But guys, as we all know, in movie parlance, and of course, Jordy Lines, correct me if I'm wrong on this, they're expecting, movie production companies are expected to have at least 3 times the production budget in terms of box office returns worldwide to consider it a success. So, provided that this was a $170 million film, I believe that's marketing costs included, it falls a little shy of what would be, let's say $200 million, $246. $600 million would be, where you would need the clear for it to be in the black. It fell short of that at $404 million worldwide. So, while not a huge hit, it didn't quite stick the landing, financially speaking. Now, guys, this is a really interesting read because we know that these fans obviously are really engaged with, asking Disney, asking anyone involved in production to make a sequel, because this film has all the trappings of a fantastic body of work, especially by the fact that it's produced by James Cameron. He's been sitting on this for 20 years, much like Spielberg was sitting on Ghost in the Shell for over 20 years in development hell. Unlike Spielberg, who handed Ghost in the Shell off to Rupert Sanders to direct, James Cameron had the foresight to hand it off to a more competent filmmaker, which was Robert Rodriguez, and he did a fantastic job on that. So the film really is a solidly produced film. It really is groundbreaking visual effects, unfortunately. And is critically acclaimed. Unfortunately, the only thing that's holding it down was the box office results. And there are a myriad number of reasons we can talk about, whether it's marketing or the fact that it's an adaptation of anime into a live-action film, which maybe does not translate for Western audiences. That aside, it didn't make the box office Fox was hoping. Now, this is what Christoph Waltz says in the interview, and I think it's really interesting. It's great to know that actors want a job, but also really do believe in the passion, have a passion for the project. Christoph says, Of course, I would. But, I'm as wise as you are. I haven't heard anything, and I'm a little disappointed and surprised that I haven't heard a thing so far, because I know that it has followers. I know that people liked it, and aside from what others said, I loved it and liked working on it, and I liked the results, you know? It was Fox, and Fox doesn't exist anymore. It's now Disney. And maybe it doesn't fit into Disneyfication, but I have no clue. I maybe they're working on something, and maybe I would be the first person. I wouldn't be the first person to hear, but meanwhile, I haven't heard anything. That's my horrible Christoph Waltz impression, so thank you for indulging me in that, dude. But great to see that Christoph Waltz really does believe in the project, at least on the PR side of things. So, big news there. Guys, let's talk about Battle Angel Alita 2. Let me know your thoughts on this article or on the property in and of itself. I'm really curious to hear that. So remember, if you want me to talk to you on screen, just highlight my name in the live chat. That's at MoviePOP. I'll see your name next to my name highlighted, and I'll know that your comment in the live chat is for me to read on screen. And I believe I did see something here from Jordy, but he has now retracted it. You son of a gun. All right. Guys, let's move on to the second topic for the day. And this one is coming to us from OtaQuest. I think that's a pun on otaku, which means a closet anime nerd in Japanese, essentially. Now, guys, you know I love me some Ghost in the Shell. If you haven't heard, Ghost in the Shell is actually, well, it's a series of mangas, but also most prominently an anime series, which was... Oh, man, met with so much critical and audience acclaim with the standalone complex. You'll see that here highlighted. That's Ghost in the Shell SAC, standalone complex. 2-season run on Adult Swim. Well, guess what, guys? They are making another standalone complex, and it's coming out on Netflix this month. I believe it's April 23rd. We've got a great interview here with the directors Kenji Kamiyama and Shinji Aramaki. They kind of talk about, you know, the placement of Ghost in the Shell in our modern society. Because when Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex 2002 came out, this was during a time where, you know, we had cell phones that were limited to texting 140 characters on Twitter or anywhere else for that matter. I mean, Facebook statuses literally started with your name is, and then you fill in the blank. So, you know, DJ is taking a poop and thinking about posting on Facebook, and you'd have to structure your thoughts in that manner. So obviously times have changed since 2002. 18 years later, we're now wondering, how does Ghost in the Shell fit into our modern lifestyle, where some of the things they predicted are now are part of our reality, and where do we go from there? It's a fantastic, in-depth philosophical read about a lot of things that have happened in our socio-economic, globalized economy, world, whatever you want to call it. Great read, and it really does give me some faith in the property that is coming on Netflix, I believe this 23rd of this month. A couple things here I did highlight, I thought were worth mentioning, guys. Kenji Kamiyama, one of the directors, says, this time, thinking about, oh yes, this is about what the show is about, this time, thinking about a reality where AI, that's artificial intelligence, is more intertwined with everyday life. The story is based around the possibility of a singularity that's a paragon of civilization's progress appearing on behalf of humanity, happening sometime soon. So, yes, how will Section 9, that's the cyborg group dealing with artificial intelligence in a futuristic society, how does that story unfold? What are the repercussions of artificial intelligence gaining more dominance and prominence in our life? It's a fantastic read, guys. If you're an anime nerd or a Ghost in the Shell nerd, highly suggest you go check this article out at OtaQuest. All right. So we'll bring it back down to movie news, guys. If you weren't anime nerds, this probably wasn't much interest to you. But of course, I want to tie it over to your thoughts. Your thoughts should have came first, actually. But anyhow, we're here. So let's go to the live chat. Let's see what we got. Who's highlighting my name? Who's pinching my nips? G-Wolf says, love me some new GITS SAC. You know he's an OG if he's saying GITS. Because all of us Ghost in the Shell fans know it's GITS. GITS. So yeah, bro. How excited are you, man? Seriously, how excited are you? I've got like a red rocket boner level of excitement for it. I loved Standalone Complex. I wasn't so hot on Ghost in the Shell Arise. I thought visually, of course, brilliant. The animation company, Production IG, always does fantastic work. But damn, for that story was just, it left a lot to be desired, didn't it? If you've seen it. So, curious about... Jim, bro, you gotta highlight my name, dude. But I happen to see your comment, Jim. He says, Jim Boyer says, I'm in section 8, which is just about right. G Wolf says he's also fully erect. So fantastic, guys. Let's raise him up high for Ghost in the Shell. I salute you, sir. All right, guys, let's move on to our third topic of the day. What in the hell? Why isn't it labeled 3? I'm so confused right now. What's going on? Oh, okay, here it is. It's a little messed up, but we got it. Rolling Stone. Breaking news, guys. Movie fan Stanley Kubrick narrates his life story in Kubrick by Kubrick trailer. The late great director tells his story in an exclusive interview footage. If you guys haven't seen this already, it's pretty freaking fantastic.
By definition, not be a story.
A good story that you make in a film is a miracle. And, you know, it's very hard to work miracles.
And if Stanley trusts you, if he trusts you, you're all right. If he doesn't, beware.
We did 105 takes on this thing, and take 2 was perfect.
I've never done more than, say, 15 takes before.
Whoa, look at the teeth on her, huh?
If you try to do it properly, is not
Awesome. Loving it. Kubrick by Kubrick. So, guys, if you don't know who Stanley Kubrick is, may God bless your heart. But some interesting highlights from the article here, guys. It's coming from Shelley Duvall. Actually, it starts with Malcolm McDowell. He says, if Stanley treats you right, you're all right. That's my British accent again. I apologize, Geordie. He also says, if he doesn't, beware. And also, a young Shelley Duvall is seen in the clip from a vintage interview, adding, quote, I had never done more than, say, 15 takes before in my life. Now, this is in reference to famed Stanley Kubrick doing over 100 takes for a single scene. I mean, this guy was a master of cinema. And of course, despite inherent skill, you have to imagine someone with that level of quality and craft, especially back then, pre-digital age, shooting on analog formats, editing on analog formats. The fact that he did that kind of level of filmmaking, it's next level. The actress also has spoken on her battle with Kubrick while filming the 1980 adaptation of Stephen King's The Shining, once noting that Kubrick's harsh treatment of her helps get the emotion up and the concentrations up, because it builds up anger and you get more out of yourself. Quote, she says, he knew that, and he knew he was getting more out of me by doing that. So it just was sort of like a game. Interesting. Abuse your female leads to get more out of them. It's some definite next level method directing, perhaps, in contrast to method acting. So, guys, another fun fact here. The 2020 Tribeca Film Festival was originally slated for April 15th through the 26th in New York City, but it was postponed after Governor Andrew Cuomo banned events of 500 or more people in light of the COVID-19, and a rescheduled date has yet to be announced. So, womp, womp, womp. Sad to hear, of course. COVID, nothing positive about that, but hey, good to know that a film narrated by the man himself about the man himself is on the horizon. So let me know your thoughts about this, guys. First and foremost, in the live chat. Where's the live chat? Would it be this way? In the live chat. And also down below. So let's move on over yonder. Mr. Jim Boyer says, that is Shelley Duvall. Are you talking about teeth or what? G-Wolf says, leave it to Kubrick to tell his own story after he's gone. Yeah, dude, right? Next level, to the end, to the very bitter end, in fact. Jim Boyers also says, with the teeth, yeah, okay, I figured as much, bro. Yeah, that's Shelley Duvall. You know what's funny, though? Shelley Duvall, I kind of had a crush on her growing up. She has like that kind of like that ugly, hot look. You know, you like look at her and like you're kind of disgusted, but you're also turned on at the same time. I don't know how that works, but little childhood crush, celebrity crushes of mine. Sarah Jessica Parker, also another one as well. Although that over time has faded. I think as a child I was more. Anyhow, this is not about childhood fantasy crushes. This is about movies, so let's stay on topic, guys. If you do happen to know somebody in your own life who is ugly hot, let them know you think they're ugly hot. Might get a little freaky on. All right, so fourth topic, guys. Let's move on here. Thank you all so much. Let me know your comments by hitting that MoviePOP. I'll check them out in the live chat. Also, for those of you viewing afterwards, leave me a comment in the section down below. Before we move on, let's start with Mr. Jim Boyers, baby. He says, I know what you mean. So ugly, she's cute. Yeah, I know, right? It's like if we had a scale, right? Here's hot, here's ugly. It's like if you're moving into the ugly portion of it, it like kind of like relapses and goes back to the beginning where it's like hot, if that makes sense. Like it kind of like goes off screen and then goes on the other side and it's like, whoop, now it's hot. All right. Anyhow. All right, guys. Next topic here. This one is coming to us, I believe, from comicbook.com. And it's regarding a certain someone who talks like this. Can you guess who it is? Hopefully this person doesn't talk like this in the next movie. Any takers? All right, here we go. It's regarding Matt Reeves' newest Batman film. Video is not available. Great. Batman director Matt Reeves delivers DC movie update amid coronavirus shutdown. The Batman writer-director Matt Reeves expects to finish shooting in London, but says, quote, "The situation is fluid," unquote. After filming on his DC Comics movie was halted because of the coronavirus on March 14th, the Robert Pattinson-led Batman was 7 weeks into filming when Studio Warner Brothers announced a 2-week hiatus. On March 25th, Reeves confirms production was shut down indefinitely and would remain so until it's safe for all of us to resume. Put on a freaking mask, dude. Wear some gloves. Put on a visor. PPE from head to toe. Get that baby out, man, because I want to watch this from home as a non-contributing zero. I want you to sacrifice your health and well-being to make my damn movies. Warner Brothers has yet to shake a new release. Blah, 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 blah. What do I got highlighted here? Likely, the film will be pushed back from its scheduled June 25th, 2021, which was next year anyways, release date. So that's damn, man. Another casualty of COVID in terms of film release dates. Reeves also says, quote, this is interesting. It's about the Batman film. I thought, this is cool. He says, "It took me 2 years to work on that story, and it's a very specific mystery noir that's been really thought out by me and my partners." So, guys, to summarize this article here, this basically talks about, of course, the Batman film, which was originally supposed to be written, and if not written, at least directed by, also starring Ben Affleck. Thank God we're not getting that. I wasn't really a fan of Batfleck. Not because Ben Affleck did anything wrong. And guys, let me know your thoughts as I'm expounding upon my thoughts here. I think that'll be the format. I'll read the article, go on my thoughts. You let me know your thoughts. We'll come back to those and then move on to the next article. But Batfleck, Ben Affleck, he's a A-class actor, director, writer, yada, yada, yada. But he's such a high-profile A-list celebrity that, like, when I'm watching him as Bruce Wayne on screen, I can't see anything other than Ben Affleck. And I think that's a problem. That serves as a detriment to a character like Bruce Wayne or Batman. So I think it's better served by rising star actors like they use with Christian Bale. He was rising to prominence. He wasn't at the level of acclaim that he's at now at the time when Batman Begins started with Christopher Nolan. Anyhow, I like the direction that Matt Reeves at least has lightly described, that this is going to be a mystery noir. It's not going to be an origin story, so get that out of your heads, thank God, because we've had that ad infinitum. This is going to be focusing on Bruce Wayne in the beginnings of his adventures as the Batman and dealing with the struggles of, what Batman deals with. So I think that's cool. He's got a very fresh take on it, and I'm excited to see it. Boner level, Red Rocket. So guys, let me know, of course, your thoughts on this in the live chat. Highlight at MoviePOP when you're talking to me there. Leave me a comment down below. So without further ado, let's move on forward. Mr. G Wolf says, yes, put N95s on everyone and then digitally remove them. It'll look fine. Yeah, dude, right? That's the way to do it. Henry Cavill knows from experience, man. Jesus Christ. Put any 9.5 mask and remove them digitally. So basically the whole like lower portion of people's faces, or a quarter of it, or a third of it, is going to have to be digitally removed. And oh, good. Could you imagine how that would look? How janky that would look? Mr. Jim Boyers, Detective Jim says, I really liked the Batfleck. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what he says. Okay. I thought he handled all three sides of the role perfectly. And you know, Jim, you're not wrong, dude. I can confidently say objectively and subjectively, for my own personal opinion, I agree with you 110%. But my problem, and maybe it's a personal problem, I couldn't see him as really inhabiting the character of Bruce Wayne. All I saw was Ben Affleck. And I think that's just a consequence of being like one of the high-tier A-list celebrities, right? Unless you're amongst those high-tier A-list celebrities like a Kevin Spacey. Ooh, that's a bad reference, right? Who really can just melt into the character they're playing, and like you don't really see Kevin Spacey per se. For me, anyways, Ben Affleck was not at that that extreme level of acting capabilities. You know what I mean, man? So, Mr. Jordy Line says, I can declare my undying love for Manifest to appease Jim Boyers. Okay, so yeah, guys, I think you are flexing your movie knowledge credibility on me, because I am not aware of what Manifest is, but I'm assuming it's a Ben Affleck film. Don't get me wrong, love me some Ben Affleck, love Argo, love Good Will Hunting, love Jiggly, believe it or not. No, I'm just kidding. But I like the man. I like what he does. I think the way back, the way forward, the wayward way man, something like that. The newest movie he made about being an alcoholic. I think that was supposed to be a really good movie. I really wanted to see before theaters got shut down. So, Jim says it's a TV show regarding Manifest. Nothing to do with Affleck. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for letting me know, Jimbo. All right, guys. I think we have one more topic before our commercial break, and I think, Jim, you'll like this as well, being a white man from the South, if you haven't seen it already. Jordy Line says Ben Affleck should have gotten Emmy for Manifest. LMAO. Wait, guys, is Ben Affleck in the TV show or not? What's going on here? Am I misreading this? Hold on, let me. Jim says it's a TV show, nothing to do with Affleck. Jordy says Ben Affleck should have gotten an Emmy for Manifest. You guys fudging with me? What's going on here? Jim says saw The Way Back twice. Damn, dog. Really solid film. Dude, yeah. I really wanted to see it. Missed out on it. Then Jim clarifies he is not. All right. We're going to go with Ben Affleck is not on Manifest. We'll go with that. Oh, hey, I see Storm Shadow here. What up, dude? Thank you so much for being here, man. And thank you so much for submitting your articles to me for consideration. I had so many this week, actually. I had to remove about 5 of them for consideration. Yours, Storm Shadow, of course, was in there, but I felt like these top 10 were more relevant to the channel. But please continue to do so. As I've said in the past, I've included some of your article suggestions on the broadcast. So yeah, man, thanks for being here and thanks for doing that. Really appreciate it, dude. So hope you're having a great weekend and a great life in general, Storm Shadow. So, all right, guys. Oh, here we go. Last clarifying point here from Jordy Lines. He's clearly lost his mind. Jim Boyers has lost his mind. Or I've lost my mind. Either way, at least for me, yeah, I've definitely lost my mind about 10 years ago, man. So you're not wrong on that, Jordy. All right, guys. Last topic before our commercial break. And this is a sad one. Ugh. Coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter. This is regarding AMC theaters. Quote, bankruptcy appears likely, Analyst says. Now, I don't know if this is Analyst like plural, because we got one analyst who says this. So how how much confidence we can have in this one analyst is up to debate. I'm not a financial person myself, so you guys clue in with your thoughts and comments as we read through this. There were some very sad, interesting tidbits here, though. I did have them highlighted, but I've lost the highlighted markers here. Let's start with this. MKM Partners, Eric Handler downgrades the stock to a sell, estimating its cash burn rate in a no-revenue environment is running at $155 million per month, which likely keeps AMC liquid until June or July. Now, I know this article did kind of detail their financial analysis and assumptions based off operations resuming in August. And let's pray to God, guys, that is not the case. I hope this whole flattening the curve issue is well and resolved by at the very latest June. But the sooner the better, honestly. Let's get some bodies in these theaters. Mask us up. Do what you have to do. I don't know. Find a way to make it happen, or at least find some sources to keep the operations afloat in stasis until they can operate without having to go into bankruptcy. But who knows? Bankruptcy might be a good thing to shake up the organization. Get rid of those crappy Carmike converted locations. Yeah, you might have to trim some of the fat too. Who knows? But anyhow, I thought what was interesting here, God, I had it highlighted. Where is it at? That's my hold music, by the way. Okay, so here's one part I thought was interesting. Handler, that's the analyst, highlighted that AMC, which he called the exhibition company we view with the least financial flexibility, unquote, at the end of the 2019 had $265 million of cash on hand and $332 million available on its credit lines for a total of nearly $600 million. Quote, we believe the company's monthly cash burn rate in a no revenue environment is running at $155 million per month, which likely keeps AMC liquid until June or July, he concludes. So yeah, well, considering that cash operation analysis for the monthly costs based off their cash on hand and their credit lines, that is their estimation. I'm hoping AMC can find some solace in reference to some government subsidies. Perhaps studios coming together to help keep the exhibition giant alive, whatever they have to do to keep them operating till June or July or past that. So as it stands right now, AMC on its own can operate or stay away from claiming bankruptcy up until June or July. From that point forward, we're looking at bankruptcy or other financial maneuvering. So guys, your thoughts on this? Because I would lose my crap if, after AMC, okay, before AMC launched AMC A-List, which is the greatest thing that ever happened to movie theater going, right? I had probably gone to AMC once every couple of months at most. And ever since A-List came out, it was like I was going there on average, 3-4 times a month, at least once a week on average. And for us to have been blessed with the godliness that is AMC A-List, right? Only about a year or 2 years at most ago, and then have it unceremoniously taken away from us, and then the company like being liquidated and going out of business. What kind of nasty karma would that be, right? So I'm really hoping that they find a way forward. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Does it matter to you? Do you go to AMC? Or are you like are you a Regal kind of guy? Like I'm a Regal kind of girl. I'm a Regal kind of guy. I don't do that AMC business. Or I'm an Alamo kind of guy. Alamo Draft House, baby. Or I'm a Cinemark kind of guy. Or I'm an iPick kind of girl. Whatever your flavor is, let me know. Let me know how this news is impacting you or the prospect of AMC going under. More specifically, Jordy. Yeah, Jordy, I know you're from the UK, dude. So what's your situation out there? Who's your big tentpole theater exhibitor? I'm curious to know. So, all right, guys, let's move it to you here in the live chat. We've got Mr. Jim Boyer saying any debt holder who doesn't give AMC a chance, dude, seriously, I think I like where you're going, to rebound and repay is unbelievably ignorant. Yeah, dude, like, come on. This is the furthest thing from an insolvent, irresponsible company. It was in the black. I mean, you got profit margins up the wazoo, finally building up. Yeah, dude, right on board with you, man. Jim also continues, he says, no one wins in a bankruptcy. You get pennies on the dollar if you get anything. Everyone can make money if they just forgive the debts. Thank you. For the length of the crisis, dude. It's unbelievable. I'm like, I'm pulling my hair out of my head. I'm like punching myself in the nuts every time I read any article or hear any news broadcast where they talk about, oh, well, what will they do with the debt load, the debt burden for the rents and blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, we're in an unprecedented global economic shutdown due to this viral crisis. Pause all payments. It's that simple. If you own a business and you owe vendors money for, exactly as you said, money, rent, whatever the expenses may be that you owe to anyone, pause it for the duration that everything was shut down until maybe, whatever, a couple months after we get the economy back up. Problem solved. But of course, this is antithetical to the whole nature of capitalism. I don't know how this is going to play out, bro. This is really, truly unprecedented times. But yeah, you know what? If there's any one problem with what you said, Jim, it's that you're using pure and plain logic. And we often know that that doesn't really apply in the real world. So thanks, man. Jim also says, no one else is going to rent or buy these outrageously large spaces. Yeah, dude, exactly. What are they going to do? Open up like Chuck E. Cheese version 2? And like in these shutdown theaters? What the hell else could you put in there besides another movie theater? And then you begs the question then at that point, why not just keep the operation afloat instead of starting from scratch with another theater chain buying it out? And what other theater chain would be equal to AMC? I don't know. It'd have to be Chinese. To have that kind of scale that the American multi-cinema has had in America. How do you it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Honestly, somebody's going to have to use logic, get rid of whatever financial maneuvering or I don't know anything about finances at that scale, but just plain and simple logic. Yes, we're on board, on the same page. Boom. Jordy Lyons says, the problem in big caps, I hear you, man. The problem is, and hear me out. I'm hearing you, brother. The actual industry makes no money from the screening side of things. It's festivals and distributors that make the industry tick. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. Let's see how you follow up with this, Jordy. It's misunderstood how much business is done at festivals and conferences. Now, this is interesting, Jordy. Now, I correct me if I'm wrong on this. Yeah. I think you're speaking. Let's see. Hold on here. Jordy says, let's go back. The actual problem is, and hear me out, the actual industry makes no money from the screening side of things. The industry. Okay, so now we're playing semantics here, because if we're going to really break this down, when you say the industry, Jordy, what do you mean the industry? Production companies, film studios, or we're talking about the bread and butter of it all, like gaffers and best boys and lighting directors and set directors and all the elements of a production crew. What are we talking about exactly? I'm sorry, I just want to get really precise with what you're saying here before I misinterpret it. My initial thoughts on that, Jordy, though, however, was that you're saying that the industry, if we're talking about studios and production companies, etc., they don't make much money from the screening side of things. And I thought the opposite was true. Like, the exhibitors don't make much money. We're talking maybe 30% of the ticket sale going to the actual exhibitors, and 70% of that going to the distributors and the production and film studios, right? So as it relates to this article, yeah, like, because AMC, for example, would only make 30% of a box office ticket sale, a lot of their money, their income is coming from concessions and other ancillary related things movie theaters do. Maybe perhaps like a Fandango, or not Fandango, what's it called? What's that that one-time event screening thing they do. It's not Fandango. You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Fathom events. Yeah. Anyhow, correct me if I'm wrong, Jordy, on that there, but yeah, appreciate it, my brother. Guys, we're gonna go to a commercial break here. Oh, well, okay. I actually happened to be looking, so I caught your you clarifying there, Jordy says, I mean the actual physical industry. Production companies make the content, yes. Distributors make it available, yes. And thank you so much for this inside knowledge. I love it. On board so far, yes. And screening vendors purchase it. The actual physical industry. Okay. So was I correct in when I was trying to understand your explanation here? When you say the physical industry, you're referring to like basically the peons, right? The guys who are on the bottom of the totem pole, who really make what films require, right? Interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, that would come as no surprise to me if that's the case. Of course, we all know profits always somehow find their way to rising to the top and are supposed to trickle back down to us lowly peons on the bottom looking for scraps, right? All right, guys. Hey, listen, I got a freak a leak. That means take a piss. And I also need to smoke my vape and refill myself on some alcohol. G-Wolf, Jim something, you know what I'm talking about. Jim Boyers, I hope you enjoy the commercial, man. This is our newest sponsor. Guys, take it away from our newest sponsor. Here we go.
All right.
Keep her safe from the homies in the wrong side of town where they're smoking the reefer and acting like clowns. Keep that pretty white dress from getting dirty and brown, cause that's the American way. Woo!
Oh, man, I tell you what, it's hard for a white man out here these days in America, ain't it? Sure enough. Hey, listen, guys, my name is Sean Michael Williams. I just want to tell you, you know, in this new age of social justice warriors and coons, spics, and Japaneses and all kinds of Orientals sticking up their noses up in the white man's business, it's hard to be a white man in America today. But you know what? If I see Kunta Kinte walking up to me asking me where town is, I'm going to tell him it's back the way he came from. And you know what makes that even better? Is the fact that I got one last respite. It's called Jim Crow Whiskey. Oh yes, it's an all-white man's coon-free white man's delight. And I tell you what, this little bad boy here takes me back. So guys, when you want to get back to what America should be, what it used to be, take a sip of Jim Crow. And while you're at it, hit me up online at Jim Crow. Jim, what's my name? Sean Michael Williams at jimcrow.net, and I'll give you one of these free white power hats. See y'all later, America. Stay safe with COVID.
Hey, I'm black again, guys. All right. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Jim Crow, for providing us with some of the fantastic coon-free whiskey that's very nostalgic of our shameful past here in America. Hats off to you. Cheers. Guys, wow, you know what? Jordy, I think I happened to be looking there. I saw it. Jordy says, vendors then have agreements with the studios, quote, or parentheses, if they distribute their own content, or a distributor who wholesale the content. This is why front-end loaded is often referred to. Yeah, very true. Very good point. Yeah, and front-end loaded is definitely more of a reoccurring theme. Thanks in part to AMC for having A-List, right? How often would we be watching his movies on opening day in perpetuity if it wasn't for that? I, for one, would not be spending upwards of $20 per screening, depending where you watch these films. I mean, for example, most recently, I was watching movies at AMC AMC Cinema. What the hell was it called? City Walk. It's at Universal Studios. I mean, it's one of the most amazing theaters I've ever been to. But you're talking $25 for a theater ticket. I would definitely not have been spending that kind of money if it were not for A-list. So yeah, good point. Jordy Lines. Jim Boyers also says, just had to go with the Kentucky whiskey, huh? Couldn't have used Tennessee. I did it just for you, man. I was hoping you'd be watching, so glad you finally got to see it. But honestly, no, it's just whatever. I don't know. I think it was. Yeah, well, you know what? Originally, I did do a play on, what was it, Jack Daniels? And it was a black label. I did use them at first, but I had a bottle of Bacardi, and it was a white label. So what else is a white label? Jim Beam. Now Jim Crow. And it's all white. If it ain't white, it ain't right. Guys, coming to us from IndieWire. Martin Scorsese is talking with Apple and Netflix to distribute the next film report. Good Lord Almighty. This is a very interesting read. If you haven't heard, and I did mention this on a previous broadcast, Martin Scorsese, acclaimed masterpiece film director, is making a new film. It's called Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, rising cost on this feature-length film, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, have forced Scorsese to seek partners outside of Paramount. Ouch! Paramount, again, another high-budget box office, or high-budget, high-profile film. This company, man. Guys, I'm going to give you the short and skinny on this because we got 15 minutes left here. This film is already looking at a $200 million budget. What in the hell is going on with Scorsese, man? I mean, he had his ass saved by Netflix. The Irishman, I think, was reported at $170 million. No studio wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole, especially because it was nearly a 4-hour-long film. So whether this is a equally long film or what in the hell is making it cost $200 million, because with Irishman, we know that was mostly attributed to the digital effects, the fact that it was a period piece film, so a lot of physical sets had to be made to make it look like it was shot in the period that it was taking place in. What could possibly, good God, $200 million? I mean, we're talking Marvel level money here. So very curious. But yeah, Scorsese, he's looking for some partners now because Paramount's like, bro, we can't afford this budget again. And you know, Paramount, they denied him last time too, and that's why Scorsese went to Netflix. And Netflix picked up the rights to it. I think I'm part, at least to distribute, if not help produce. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong on that, guys. We got the movie masters here, Mr. Jim and Jordy. Guys, your thoughts on this, though? I'm really looking forward to it because we know we've got DiCaprio and Scorsese again. Really anticipating seeing this. Loved what they did together on Shutter Island. So, the live chat. Let's go to it. Leave me your thoughts down below in the comments as well, guys, as you're watching this here. Jim Boyer says, old Uncle Marty is really selling out to these streaming Damn old Uncle Marty. Yeah, what a great American, man. I had to steal his hat. I love that white power hat. I love wearing it when I go jogging or even when I go shopping, honestly. You'd be surprised to see, a very crowded area suddenly open up to you as you're walking through it with your white power hat on. So, a little tip to you guys out there once this whole COVID thing subsides. Jim also says, next he'll be making comeback movies. Oh, comic book movies. I almost thought you said coonback movies. I was like, what is that, like a hybrid between a coon and a wetback? Coonback. Making them coonback movies. Old Uncle Marty. Lastly, Jim says, $250 million. You break that down, and it's only like a few million for each hour of the film. Dude, I don't understand it. I'm perplexed. Unless we've got some next level CGI happening here, and it's like some sort of visual psychedelic journey that would marshal the amount of money a studio would have to provide to create such a passion project. I don't know. Scorsese, man, hey, I hope you find the funding. Really excited to see it. Guys, let's go on to the next topic here. And this is coming to us from IndieWire. Guys, have you heard about Quibi? Well, Quibi versus Quarantine, the antithesis of the streaming wars. Interesting. Now, guys, if you haven't heard already, Quibi is the newest broadcast streaming service. It's meant for your cell phone exclusively, which I think is an odd choice. Bite-sized content. Quick Bites is the shortened version of the word Quibi. That's what it stands for. Big money, big star power behind it. It recently launched this week to a, depending how you measure your metrics, I think a paltry is an accurate description of the 300,000 subscribers for this service, in contrast to, let's say, I mean, this is a bigger player, so this is comparing apples to bananas, but Disney Plus, what, 5 million subscribers upon launch, I believe is the number. So Quibi, apparently, this article kind of goes over the content. It's not that great, is the consensus, according to IndieWire here, anyhow. And also the format, the streaming format is interesting. I mean, like, it's already an overcrowded market. And I feel like I'm beating the dead horse here, guys. We all know the streaming wars is well beyond started. This is another player in the field. And granted, yeah, they're going to give you 3 months free, but guess what? We all know how these 3 free months actually work out, right? You always have to provide your credit or debit card up front with the expectation that they know you'll forget about it and then start charging you for the service afterwards. So when I see that crap, I'm like, dude, no, give me the free 3 months first, and then I'll pay you if I want it afterwards. You're not going to fool me. But yeah, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on Quibi. If you've used it, I haven't yet. Honestly, guys, I'm probably not going to. That paywall is honestly a barrier for me. And if the content's not even that great, probably not going to do it. Because guess what? CBS was giving away all access for free. In my opinion, the content wasn't that great. I didn't even want to watch it for free. So what pull do I have for Quibi? What pull do you have for Quibi? I don't know. Let me know. I'd love to talk to you about that, though. But hey, it's a service that is available now if you're curious. So without further ado, let's move on to our 8th topic. And guess what, guys? Star Wars, it's back in the mix. J.J. Abrams, editor, still feels very strongly about Last Jedi's consciously undoing Star Wars. So, wow. We get to see what's happening between PR and PR departments and people involved in the production of the film. J.J. Abrams, longtime editors say the director was in a tough position with The Rise of Skywalker after what Johnson did to the story in The Last Jedi. Yikes. Again, guys, I had things highlighted here, which of course have cleared out now during the broadcast. I will fix that for next time moving forward. But what was really interesting here? Yeah, the editor says, quote, "The Last Jedi made conscious storytelling decisions that undid the narrative scripts or setups made in Star Wars The Force Awakens." Now, I thought that was interesting because you have somebody who is an editor on this film, actively involved in production, saying The Last Jedi totally undid what we set up for The Force Awakens. So if The Last Jedi is able to do that and do that so blatantly, and someone who worked on the initial project for Force Awakens is clearly saying definitively, Rian Johnson's project did this. It comes as a surprise to me that further, if you read the article here, the editor then says or dispels claims against The Rise of Skywalker, undoing what The Last Jedi tried to undo with The Force Awakens. And I'm like, if past is precedent and you're claiming one filmmaker did something to your film, and we're saying you did that exact same thing to his film, and you're discounting that that is the actual nature of the situation, how does that work exactly? We're not idiots. And honestly, this kind of PR game infuriates me because it insults the intelligence not only of me, but of us as fans watching these films. Anybody with 2 brain cells could see there's a complete narrative disconnect between all 3 of these films. There was no cohesive vision. And basically, each director, each production crew associated with the director were left basically to their own demise. Kathleen Kennedy, as executive producer on this franchise, had no overarching story arc for this property. That much is clear without getting into finer details about this, because we all know about this in depth. So it's just very curious to me to see this kind of PR game still being played after this film has had its theatrical run. I don't know, guys. Don't get me started. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Maybe you can get me off my soapbox. Let me know your thoughts on this article, on the franchise as a whole, anything that's on your mind related to this here. And of course, it's coming to us from Detective Jimbo. I would have to, let's see, Jim says, I would have liked to see JJ's vision through all 3 films. Yeah, you and me both, brother. Despite JJ's issues with sticking the landing, I think at least if you had one coherent vision, it would have made more narrative sense. He also he continues, if they did not have a total fleshed out story to start with, then I do not understand having different directors. Stupid. Yeah, totally stupid. Exactly. Why do you have different directors if you don't have a total overarching narrative fleshed out? This is what Marvel does to excellence. You have Kevin Feige, who not only sets out the overarching story of each individual film, but the saga of films in each phase on the whole, and basically leaves the minutia up to directors. That doesn't really affect the overall storyline. Funny that Marvel Studios, owned by Disney, has a structure set in place, and that Disney, through ignorance or mismanagement or some other behind the scenes elements we're not privy to, has decided to leave executive authority in the hands of Kathleen Kennedy, who time and time again has proven that she cannot pick up the football when passed to her and fumbles. I don't watch sports ball, by the way, so hopefully that sports analogy does make sense. Anyhow, it would just make sense to me as a viewer, and I'm sure to you as viewers and fans, right? You build out the damn story first, and then the rest will follow. When you throw hundreds of millions of dollars and thousands of people involved in making what is culturally relevant cinema on a global scale, how does this most basic fact elude you? I don't know. But it's interesting, and it's infuriating to see the PR turn on this, saying like, "Oh no, we had a plan. Oh no, we weren't retconning this." Dude, I saw the damn film. None of this shizzle makes any freaking sense. And if you think it does, if you're trying to sell me a bag of poop and telling me it's hot, delicious chocolate with nuts in it, I'm telling you it's BS, bro. So, yeah. Gonna turn it over back to you guys before we move into our second to last topic here. Before we close out this bizzle. Coming to us from Jim Boyers, Kathleen Kennedy must just be a lucky moron who was in the right place at the right time. Bob Iger, yes. Or George Lucas, yes, right place, right time. Just totally kidding, dude. No source material for Star Wars. Who says that? Oh my god, dude, you just reminded me. Seriously, screw you. That article, that was the Rolling Stones article you're talking about, where she's, oh my god, it's infuriating. This woman had the ignorance to say, well, Star Wars doesn't have a body of source material or comics or video games to reference upon. We have to make everything on our own. Hello, it's called the expanded universe. it's been in place since at least 1990s, right? With the Timothy Zahn series of books, the Dark Horse comics, just a plethora of video game properties, Shadows of the Empires. Come on. God. Anyhow, getting off my soapbox, guys. Leave me your comments down below in the live chat at MoviePOP me. Right meow. So, Ninth topic, guys. Let's move forward here. Coming to us from IndieWire, and this is regarding, thank God, somebody with sense in Hollywood is speaking some truth. And it's the one and only Mr. Roger Deakins, who refused to shoot Blade Runner 2049 the sloppy way, the way Hollywood studios would expect, aka non-creative types who only know how to, make films based off balance sheets. Roger Deakins is a little bummed with Hollywood at the moment. The two-time Oscar-winning cinematographer took some time during his quarantine to hop on the video chat with Collider for a nearly 90-minute interview in which he looked back at his illustrious career. From Shawshank Redemption to Fargo, Blade Runner 2049, and most recently 1917. Among other properties, Deakins shared a bit of Hollywood criticism when he said, quote, "Movies have become more about the aesthetic than the story." Damn. And the content and what the film is trying to say. I find that pretty disappointing and pretty depressing. So in this article, guys, Roger Deakins, he kind of illustrates what has been always like my sneaking suspicion about how these films are made is like you have the creative elements of a production studio or film company, and then you have the suit and ties. And, to their credit, suit and ties and people who are, neurotypical, or is that right? Very, very regimented, logical train of thinking, who aren't creative, of course, they're going to be managing the money and making sure everything is safe and within the confines, and we're coloring within the lines, and I get that, and we need that, especially as creatives, because we can unfold into our own, unraveling of wild, chaotic, endless creative expression, right? So it's great to have that side reeled in, but oftentimes it seems like that non-creative element can have more prominence over what should be a creative endeavor, that is film art, right? So he talks about basically his experience with second units, which is an element of principal photography, I believe. First units most usually are like the director of photography, your actors, etc. And then your second units will usually be tasked with doing like establishing shots that the director doesn't necessarily have to be there for, or actors don't have to be there for, pickup shots, etc. And so basically he kind of details about how these executives are saying, hey, during the production of Blade Runner 2049, we think you need 5-6 cameras and, 3 or 4 different second units to do this, that, and the other. And Roger Deakins is like, you know what? Sorry, I'm a creative visionary. I've got this. I don't need your input. I don't need what you're saying I need. And yeah, it just goes off on there because it's kind of tying back tangentially to the whole issue with Star Wars, right? Like, let the creatives do what they do best. Let them flesh out their whole body of work to their best of their ability. And then, the executives should have very light constraints upon that, most relative to budget. And oftentimes you'll find with creative types, if you restrict our budget or you restrict our timelines, you'll find we actually work quite well under stress of that nature. But as far as having your input into what should be done, non-creative types, I think, should generally stay out of that. So, yeah, good read coming from Academy Award winner Roger Deakins, cinematographer, for so many great films. So, your comments, guys, before we go into the last topic here. Jim Boyer says, yep, Hollywood features are often like the greatest Playboy centerfolds. Absolutely perfect and beautiful to look at, but not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer. Yeah, this is very true, man. Although, I think you should have said Hustler, because, Playboy magazine, great centerfolds, right? But also really insightful, intelligent articles. I mean, who would have thought? I don't know if you guys have actually ever read Playboy, but there are some really great political commentators and authors writing articles for it. It's very... If a gentleman's club were an actual magazine, which I think is what Playboy is, I think it's great. And the Hustler is just straight penetration from page to page, jism everywhere. In fact, I think a couple pages are pre-jizzed for you, so they're stuck together. Kind of have to break off the seal, and you can sniff it too. It's like kind of like one of those colognes where they're sealed together. Yeah, that's disgusting, isn't it? All right. G Wolf says, Props to Deakins, because no matter what you thought about 2049, it was beautiful. Absolutely. Same goes for 1917, dude. I thought it was a fine film. Not narratively interesting, honestly. But god dang if it was not beautiful to watch. Right? Jim Boyer says, wait. Articles? Right. I know, right? Who would have thought? All right, guys. Let's go on to the next topic. The last topic here, guys. And this is coming to us again from IndieWire. And holy crap, I had no idea. But here we go. Let's talk about it. A Revenant-sized Shining prequel film is likely dead because of Dr. Sleep's failure. I had no idea that a Shining prequel was even in pre-production or consideration for pre-production. But here we go. Director Matt Romanek reveals details about an Overlook Hotel origin movie that will probably never get made. Interesting here. Get out of here, ad. Matt Romanek remains better known for his music videos than his feature films like 1 Hour Photo, starring Robin Williams, and Never Let Me Go. But there was a moment several years ago where it appeared his directing career would be getting a major breakthrough. This goes on to detail some very interesting things about a prequel movie that was to be based on the original prologue King wrote, that's Stephen King, and then scrapped for his 1977 novel, The Shining. Now, this would be basically centered around, the film would be set at the time of the turn of the 20th century, and center around Bob T. Watson, a robber baron who ventured through the Colorado Rockies and built the Overlook Hotel atop the sacred Indian burial ground, which I guess was the genesis for the spirits that inhabited that hotel. Damn, that would have been great to see. Good read, guys. I suggest you check it out if you're fans of The Shining or Stephen King or Dr. Sleep and want to cry about something that will never likely be made, because despite how awesome Dr. Sleep was, it wasn't a box office hit. But you know what's funny? Neither was The Shining. And over time, of course, it gained its masterpiece acclaim, much in the same way as 2001: A Space Odyssey confused critics, didn't really do well at the box office, and over time was valued for its inherently obvious, awesome merits. I think the same will happen for Dr. Sleep. It's an awesome film, and I think if we don't get this prequel film anytime soon, I think on the horizon, in the near or distant future, we will be seeing it. So, guys, last comments from you here, coming from Mr. Jim Boyers. He says, I'm sure it didn't need to get made. Some things are better left as a partially explained mystery. And you know what? Yeah, honestly, I'm fine with it too. I think the concept would be interesting. I think they would have a lot of room to explore some prequel backstory. But you're right. If it's not made, I'm perfectly happy with that as well. It doesn't need to be done. I think it has potential. But yeah, also, as you said, some things are better left as a mystery. It doesn't need to be explained thoroughly. So, yeah, G-Wolf, what up, dude? What up, dude? I agree with Jim Boyers, who asked for a Shining prequel. Yeah, dude, I wasn't asking for it. So when I read this, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know I wanted it. No, I kind of want it, but you know, I can live without it. Guys, make sure you like this video if you're watching now. Truly, genuinely would appreciate it. It helps the video analytics. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget, guys, please, if you have time, send your boy a letter to dj@moviepop.org for your suggestions for topic of the week, which we will choose for the next broadcast. And also a viewer letter of your choice, preferably movie related. But if you'd like to solicit yourself for anything sexual, that will not be looked over. So, guys, without any further ado, want to thank you all so much for being here. Truly hope you're having a fantastic lockdown shut-in, that you're staying safe with your friends, with your family. You're catching up on some movies and shows you've always wanted to watch. You're also enriching your mind, taking care of your body, doing those workouts and exercises you said you didn't have time to do. educating yourself, all that good stuff, making the best out of this time right now. I think it's just something we all should be doing. Yeah. So guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Been lovely chatting with you. See you next Saturday. That's going to be at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. And Mr. Jordy Lines, he says here before we close, he asked Jim Boyers to post something from me in the mod group. Hit me up. Will do. See you guys on Twitterverse. Thank you all so much for being here. Truly, genuinely appreciate it. Love speaking with all of you. Got some popcorn in my throat. Nothing like a little Jim whiskey. Jim Crow, the wash it down. All right, guys, that's it. Have a great day and a rest of your week. We'll see you next time.